Feedback is sometimes one of the hardest things to take in life. It can suck, it can be mean, but it's ultimately helpful in the long run. But while feedback is hard to take, it's also sometimes hard to get in the first place. But with the rise of social media, it's become a lot easier to converse with people, and so potential issues like that have now been decreased, since instead of talking to maybe one person or a small group of people in real life, you have over 1 million people on sites like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, to name a few, to hear your plea for feedback, and the chances of receiving it from at least one person now is medium to high. What's that? 1 million people sounds scary? Okay, well let's try a smaller platform. How about 800? Well, that leads us to r/feedback, a subreddit that touts 803 members as of this recording, and is touted as the subreddit for critics. Which is why if you look at most of these posts, there is hardly any critiques or comments, sometimes not even up/down votes outside the default 1 point you usually get when posting your content to the subreddit. But rather than spending most of this video complaining about the description, let's take a look at some posts and do what the subreddit hasn't done much of, and give some feedback. I'm not going to cover all of them. The feedback is based on what I personally see wrong with it, so if these people don't have an issue with it, that's perfectly fine. And I'm not going to sit here and say I could run this subreddit better, because I wouldn't be able to. But at the very least, I can show that if I can give feedback, so can the members of this subreddit. And if not, well, at least the creator of these videos and the like can get some feedback. Also, links to the vids and things I'll be talking about will be in the description, and something, don't harass the people I critique. I don't know, I heard that from some community that commentates some videos. And as a guy that looks like me, well, before he died, that is. Anyways, let's begin.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's just napping.
First up is a montage for Bowser from Smash Ultimate, created by, well, King Bowser. Fitting name. Anyways, I like the music choice, I like the quick cuts since it keeps the energy of the montage smooth. The jokes for the most part are not only fitting, but humorous to me.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
And your Bowser game is relatively solid for someone trying to work their way into the pro scene. It's a good montage. That being said, here's my issues. The first one I noticed is in the first few seconds. Your masking needs some work. I get what you were trying to do with the first one, but you could have done a better job taking up the Shulk face either with Vegas or using a program like Paint.net to keep only the face, and then use the points around that to match up with the original to make it more convincing. On top of that, I am not a fan of Bowser's mask job, especially the first frame where I can see half of Saitama's face. This could have been fixed with a bit more time in the masking tool by working around the hair and making it fit more naturally with the head of Saitama. I don't know if you used the circle tool in Vegas or went point by point, but if you used the latter, my advice is to maybe spend a bit more time on that so that it looks more natural, i.e. putting Bowser's head on Saitama, but altering the points so that it looks like Bowser is coming towards Shulk. I also noticed this issue of masking during the bit where you play a bit from the We Are Number 1 song. I can not only see Robbie Rotten's head, but also bits where the shoulder is swallowed by the second Bowser's head. Like before, if you were using the point-by-point masking style and not the circle tool, you can avoid this issue by going frame by frame and taking out bits where something is in front of what you're masking to make it look more convincing. Again, it's not easy, but it does pay off a lot more. So my advice for that, like I said, is try and work on your masking a bit if you do happen to use this again in the future. Another issue I have is, while I do like the jokes, some of them get reused not too long after they're initially made. This may be subjective, but reusing the jokes pretty quickly has the potential to wear out its effectiveness/comedy, so maybe try and work on those either by spacing them out, or using other media/jokes to help spice things up in terms of humor and variety. The last critique is another subjective one, and it's a small tip, but it's one I saw after seeing Realm Wars' and a few other people's montages. But another way to spice things up humor-wise is by using text. It can potentially make things funny by making a pun about what happened in the clip, or just inserting something humorous about the current situation, i.e. Little Mac robbing Mario and the text reads, "Mistakes were made." Something like that may potentially help you in terms of spicing up your comedy, or even potentially make the montage a bit more exciting for people. Anyways, that's all I got. Hopefully this helped you feedback-wise, and I wish you the best on your way to Elite Smash as well as your future montages, King Bowser. Next up is, well, Something Odd by Gabriela Riera. 5x as I butchered that name. Anyways, this video is basically a set of cuts and videos, which, given the title and description where we get the definition of the term, is perfectly fine, since it's basically a video showing off this person's object of passion, and that's what the word Merak is. So, I don't have an issue with multiple cuts to certain things and a lack of dialogue here. It fits the title, and it matches the definition pretty well. So, yeah, there's positive. I also like the editing for the most part, but there is an issue I found with it that I will address later. But yeah, a lot of good cuts. I like the multiple videos on screen, the cuts are timed to the music really well, and set clips do a good job fitting in with the song used, and the effects look great. I also like how it ends, coming off as a bookend to the whole thing, since the beginning starts off with her sinking in the tub, and then ends with her re-emerging from the water in the same tub. Now for my issues. First off, there's a bit in the beginning where the nipples are showing. I know this is age restricted, but YouTube still frowns on that kind of content, especially uncensored, so maybe consider working on either censoring it or cutting it, but that's just me. Another issue I found with it was this bit. I know what you were trying to do, green screen the eyes and add the waves to said eyes to simulate what the person is seeing / thinking of, but the issue is that the brow is also included in that, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like that was not what you were intending to do. Programs like Vegas, or if you're using something like Premiere, allow you to mask aspects of a video, so if you do happen to do this again in the future and you want to replicate this kind of effect, my advice would be to duplicate the video in another layer, mask the bit you want to green screen, and then add the footage / potentially mask that to fit with the eyes. That way you can get the effect you want, and don't have stuff like the eyebrows showing bits of the ocean video footage you used. But again, that's just me. If you don't want to do that, okay. That's all I got for this one. Good video, Gabriella, and I wish you the best with your future productions.
This is like some kind of unsettling dystopian fetish story.
Finally, we have someone asking for feedback on their site layout and design by Indodrip. First off, I like the logo and design of the cases. The tiny yellow bird does a good job showing people that this is meant to be something small that you could hold in your hand and cute / appealing to the eye. And the name of the site also does a good job selling the content, since you're taking a peep inside the case, and inside are the AirPods you're making cases and accessories out of. Speaking of, I like the colors and the use of the leather for the cases. Leather is usually soft to the touch, so if you put this in your pocket and trip, you won't get stabbed by it or feel uncomfortable if you walk around with the case in your pocket. And the choice of colors are really appealing to the eyes, and the variety of them is also a plus, since those with a particular fondness for a colored case will likely find one they like if you have variety in your case colors, so good on you for that. The banner at the top talking about the sale is also a nice touch, and this will be the first thing the user will see when getting on this site, and you likely want people to use the code at checkout, so yeah, that's good. The hover over picture effect is also good, showing the inside of the case. The page itself is formatted pretty well personally. Overall, the site does look good. Same with the design of the cases. My critique, however, is the drop-down menu for the tabs at the top of the page. I am not a fan of the way the text is displayed in the menus. It comes across as messy and potentially unfriendly to the consumer going to this page. The text itself is big, and that is a good thing, but I also feel that the text should have been aligned better to help make the drop-down menu more presentable / easy on the eyes. A good example of this is cases.com, where the text for the drop-down menu is aligned, readable, and a lot easier on the eyes for those shopping for cases. This looks a lot more clean and organized in comparison, but that's just me. If you want to keep this, perfectly fine. This is admittedly a nitpick to some people, but it was just an issue I personally found. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be a good website in terms of design and layout. Just maybe work on the text formatting and the drop-down menus a bit to make it a bit more organized, but again, that's just me. Best of luck with your website, Indodrip, and I wish you the best with your AirPod cases. So that's all I got to say for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video idea. If not, well, at least I can say I tried. Thank you all for watching. Special thanks to my patrons Susan Lucario Fan and Emerald Star Productions, and have a great day, everyone.